Yep. All
So
right.
you got to protect your face.
Let's see if Kyle or Derek, if they're wearing masks following the post-game press conferences. No masks. No masks for, well, Derek has a mask. I see it behind Kyle right there. Neubeck Derek Bodner.
Hey, quick question, fellas. There was a debate in the media room tonight. We got to lighten the mood a little bit because I know it's very somber around here. Would you recommend a movie to someone if you had not seen the final 20 minutes of that movie?
No.
No.
Thank you.
I know who asked this question too. I'm not going to give him.
Is he in our chat often?
Yes.
Austin Crowell, you have been put on blast, sucker. Anyway, what's up,
also,
fellas?
who doesn't watch the last 20 minutes of a movie? If you're gonna,
if you're
gonna watch the first hour 30, like what? Come on.
Yeah. I listen. He didn't have the time. Whatever. He also was watching Netflix while we were waiting someone to come out for post game. So just banner night at the arena here.
Technology at its finest. Kyle, all right. What's the latest on Joel Embiid? Do you have anything to add to what we know about what was said? Of course, with Joel Embiid, I'll just say it quickly here that the team after halftime, impact to the right side of face was the diagnosis as to why he did not return. Did we get any more post game?
Not especially. I mean, so Nick Nurse was asked about it, and he told us that he's still undergoing evaluations. Derek can correct me if I'm wrong here. He didn't really specify on whether he was X-rayed or not. Yeah, they're looking for fractures, trying to clear and they're looking at basically what he said was the entire part of the face there, which then we tried to clarify with PR and hey, where was it? And they said, like right cheek. And obviously I think we all have some form of PTSD with Joel getting hit in the face because of the previous orbital bone fractures. And that's probably the top concern. If that is not ruled out, that obviously that would be a big deal. But we do not know as of yet what the issue is. I would imagine probably not going to get anything tonight. If anything, something tomorrow morning, but you never know. We'll see.
So, guys, that first half offense, not great.
Stinky.
Could have been better. What were your guys? I guess let's phrase it this way. What was your biggest disappointment, or what's the thing that you wish they did more after having a full week to practice and not looking that great in that first half?
Well, I think throwing the ball to your teammates would have been a good place to start. And when you say what was your biggest disappointment, it was honestly hard to tell offensively or defensively because they were equally stinky on both. But in terms of offensively, certainly the ball movement wasn't great. When they did move the ball, they frequently had bad passes, mistimed passes. Players were cutting from the corner where Maxey thought he was spotting up. There's just a lot of miscommunication, not a lot of movement, either ball or player. And like I said, they were off target when they were passing. It was a really bad first half execution-wise. And it was only topped maybe by their defense, which was equally as atrocious. And that one lasted for most of the game. It was you don't know if it was rust. You don't know exactly what contributed to it, but they were, I'll just say it again, stinky on both ends today.
And
I'll add to all that and say I think the disappointing thing at this stage of the season, Joel's constant absences obviously noted here, is that it doesn't feel like they really have a role or go-to responsibility for Paul on offense, right? Where it just feels like if he's getting the ball, it's just this very deliberate, all right, we have to get Paul the ball on this possession. And in many cases, they're just running him, getting him an ISO, a mid post, like the type of shots that Tobias was getting, right? Like it doesn't, I think Paul George is a much better player than Tobias, skill wise. I'm going to say his name. I'm not Devon. I don't care if people get mad that I bring his name up. He's a much better player than him, but functionally he's being used in the same way, and they're not really leveraging his ability to, shoot on the move and be such a weapon as an off-ball guy, let alone an on-ball guy. Like the on-ball stuff, they're going to have to deal with some of the physical decline and what comes with that. I don't feel like they've done a good job of making him as the off-ball guy at part of the offense. And frankly, tonight, some of his best stuff before Joel went down was just being one pass away, waiting for the double and bombing away, right? And that's not, you don't have to design much there. So they got to get him more involved. There's no way he should be going into halftime with 3 shot attempts and having to basically create all his own stuff. I think there are some structural failures happening here.
And that's the thing that we were just discussing the other day about how they need to find a way to get him involved, where we know the bread and butter play for Embiid and Maxey. They need to find a way to get him going. And while his defense was very good, when he did have the basketball, he was searching for things and the shot wasn't falling. And that can be a problem. As we talked about, you know that they were going to have 3 different offenses. One led by Joel Embiid when all 3 were available. The second one was when Tyrese Maxey and Paul George were available with Joel Embiid out. And then the other was probably led by Tyrese Maxey. But with the lack of continuity, as we've all talked about, the confusion that Derek just talked about of passing to your teammates, there's still, we were just talking about it pregame, Kyle. This was game 3 for the 3 stars with the rest of the group. And we still don't know what they look like at this stage of the season.
Yeah, and look, like I'm not trying to be the ultimate doomer here, but like at what point do you just say that's just not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
They're over a quarter of the way into the season. We have no idea what's going to happen with Joel. I guess you cross your fingers and maybe it's like it was a bad bruise or something, and maybe he panicked because of the previous injuries, didn't feel good, like this doesn't feel right to me, sort of thing. Like that's what you have. That's the best case scenario, right? And that's, to think about that for a second, the best case scenario is that your star player overreacted because he's been injured so many times and had those severe injuries in that area, while we already know he's dealing with the mental burden of the knee stuff and has been open about the fact that he's battling that's something that he has to get past while on the floor. And I think we saw, even before Joel left the game tonight, I thought there were moments where you saw the explosiveness not quite there using that knee, right? He had the steal on Miles Turner. I got to step past him and isn't dunking it. It isn't going up strong. Like he's putting up layups that he's, he'll make some of them and he'll get fouled on some of them, but is not playing with the sort of conviction that I think he needs to be Joel Embiid at his absolute best. So there's still question marks, even if he's able to return sooner rather than later. And obviously we're all hoping for that, but there's just no real way of knowing. And I think it's as bad as you feel for Joel, I also feel for the guys in this locker room, right? Like they're just getting the rug pulled out from under them over and over again. It doesn't have to necessarily be Joel. One day it's Joel. Next time it's Paul. Tyrese misses a week and a half. Drummond goes down. Caleb Martin's out right now. Kyle Lowry, back spasms, gets ruled out last minute. It's just like one thing after another. It's got to be just a really mentally tough thing to try to play through, because it's everybody. It's the whole team.
Kyle, what do we always say about zone defense?
Cowards. Only cowards play zone defense. I don't care if it works.
Well, it didn't work tonight because on their first 4 possessions, they gave up 11 points. They gave up 2 open threes, a dunk, and then TJ got a 3-point play. Not good. Again, there were other reasons they lost, but I didn't like that either. Anything positive from that one, guys? I don't really think there was a ton, but Ricky was pretty good. I don't know. Kelly?
I mean, I think the positive, it looks like McCain is okay after that fall, because the way he fell and his head hit the ground and he had that whiplash, I was assuming the worst. When he left, I did not expect him to come back into the game. So for him to have passed the concussion protocol and seem like he is, for the most part, okay, that is I think the best positive I have out of this game. This was there just was not a lot of good that outside of that brief stretch there in the second half. There was just not a lot of good that happened. And it really is mystifying that we are sitting here. We spent so much time in the offseason, and the team spent so much time talking about, look, they know that Joel's going to miss games. He might not play back-to-backs. They got to find a way to tread water without him. And it just has not happened. And it is, as much as we'll sit here and we don't know how long Joel will be out, we also know he's not going to play every game from here on out. And they just never seem like they have a cohesive strategy without him on the floor. And they do have enough talent right now in Maxey and Paul George and McCain, where if they are able to generate good shots, they should be able to score. And, Maxey at least made a couple perimeter shots here today. If you could do that get back on track, that would be great. But there's just not the level of creativity or off-ball movement to really overcome not having the big fella. And I'm concerned if he does miss some time that they're not going to be able to put up enough points to get back where they need to be in the standings.
Well, fellas, we appreciate it. A couple of days off, and they're back at it in Charlotte on Monday. So we'll all be here for pre and post. Get home safe tonight. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll be hanging out with the team on Monday for a pregame show, getting ready for the Charlotte Hornets. The Teal team, Kyle, the Teal team.
Listen, too much teal coming in this next week. By the way, I don't know that it came up for you guys, but really, the Sixers were not going to get through Friday the 13th without something bad happening, right? It was inevitable that something would go off the rails. So if ever there were a team that would be struck by bad luck on a day like today, it's your Philadelphia 76ers.
We all silly like the mayor.